Coming up, we'll tell you why the Nuggets miss Michael Porter Jr., why they don't, why Cam Johnson's making such an impact, and if the Nuggets should trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Coming up on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everydayer, making us your first listen Monday through Friday. We do appreciate each and every single one of you for being a part of our community here on Locked On Nuggets. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I write the Denver Dig at thedenverdig.com and cover the Denver Nuggets for 14 seasons. His name is Swipa. You can catch him on at SwipaCam on Twitter after every single Nuggets game, his YouTube channel at SwipaCam, as well as on the Player's Choice, as well as on the Press Box, as well as on NFL Game Night, all over your internets talking about the sports things. I was thinking about you this morning, actually, because there was a video. Jason Kelsey was doing a workout. Like, could he go back and do a workout like he used to when he was playing? It was actually like really amazing to see the amount of like agility, power, and force he still has. On today's show, we'll talk about, we're going to ask the Giannis question. All right. Like, okay. How much should the Nuggets try and convince Giannis to join the Denver Nuggets? What would that mean? We'll talk about Spencer Jones a little bit. I'm doing some film work on Spencer. I want to give my thoughts on him. But we'll start today, Swipa, with this. Would the Denver Nuggets be better right now? Right now, through this point in the season, even with the record, even with the net rating, even with the best offense in basketball, would they be better right now if they had Michael Porter Jr.?
I don't think so, but I don't think the offense is what they need. I mean, maybe if they wanted to go uber charged offense and they would have had like the not slow start from Cam, because Cam the last 8 games has been playing pretty well, but they played 21 games, so the previous 13 games would their offense had been better in that stretch. I think there's a real argument for it. Obviously Porter's having a phenomenal year this year offensively. He's scoring super well. You know, I just think that like he's really in a situation where they're allowing him to work and operate, and he's doing a lot of stuff he did in Denver with the DHOs, pin downs, like coming off a lot of these handoff and these screens. Like I like his passing that he's had. You know, he's been taking advantage of it, and so I'm really happy for the situation that he's in. But I mean, defensively, I think there's a clear difference. I think just from like an IQ standpoint and process. And when the Nuggets were fully healthy, Matt, I mean, they were playing the best defense they've ever had. You know, so like some of this is like I just think they're a cleaner team than they were maybe last year. But I don't really think the trade was never really about Porter. Some of it was like maybe the playoff stuff he would drop a little bit, but it was just a lot of it was just about the money. You know, I think the fit with Cam has been good. It's been clean. I think even the defensive clips that don't get shown because they're not like box scorers, the rotation that he had versus the Suns, where he, you know, beat the man to the spot and got a steal or deflection. The steal that he had yesterday versus the Indiana Pacers in the second quarter where they were doing the rotate X out and he goes to jump at the defender goes inside, but then he plays it so well that like, hey, if you go in, I'm going with you. But so the defender thinks he's leaving the corner and then he gets a steal off the corner pass. Like, it's just stuff like that. So now, Matt, this is the thing. When they played versus OKC, when they played versus Houston, you saw you can't pick on any of the Nuggets right now. And if you look at Jamal Murray's defensive numbers this year, they've been pretty good. And I think some of this is like, who are you picking on Denver now? Jokic? So when Jokic gives energy, then they don't really have like a pick-me on the defensive end among their starters. So I just think that they're just the real test of time, I think, is going to come when they play versus these high-level teams, versus Shea especially, Jalen Brunson, and others that MPJ traditionally couldn't keep up with, that he's going to really be operating in a good lens with. So I think that the fit, like I said, is just cleaner with Cam Johnson.
Yeah, so there's a couple things here. One, this question is being engaged right now as we are a quarter of the way through the season. And if you'd asked me before the season, like, okay, when do you want to evaluate this? I've been like, I want to evaluate it after the entire season. because I think you get him for the playoffs, and I think it does take a learning curve. And like AG and Cam talked about this, about how much they want him to just kind of like, I'll just stress this. Like Cam is my kind of guy, because like he is very much like, he's nervous. Like he wants to live up to this thing. He's
an overthinker, just like you.
He's an overthinker, just like me. And like they want him to be less of that. And I think he will be that, because I think athletes are, good at those things, and I'm not, and that's okay. I have some numbers to show you. This is via databaller.com. You can see the numbers if you're listening on the podcast, go check out youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. Give us a subscribe there, and you can see the numbers. I'll try and narrate them quickly, because I don't think that's good podcasting. But what you kind of see is that the offense with MPJ was 0.3 points per 100 possessions better with Jokic and MPJ versus Jokic and Cam. And you'll notice the defense was also better last year with Jokic and MPJ at 117.8 versus 118.7 currently. It's about a point better. It was about a point better with MPJ and Jokic. These are just numbers. Like, I agree with you on the process side, but I want to at least have the conversation of being like, well, look, I can talk about like, oh, look at this rotation that MPJ couldn't make. And oh, they're not picking on him the way MPJ couldn't. And he doesn't have these lapses the way that MPJ couldn't. And yet, if you look at the overall numbers, that has not borne out. Now, what's interesting here is that if we look at the Cam and Jonas Valanciunas are plus 11.1 this season in 75 minutes with a 128 offensive rating and a 116 defensive rating. That combo has been awesome. MPJ and DeAndre Jordan. So when you took Jokic off the floor and you had MPJ with the bench unit, it was like this year is 128 offense. That combo was 115. This combo is 116 defensively. That combo was 119. Jonas and Cam are winning their minutes by 11 points per 100 possessions. DJ and MPJ are lost theirs by minus 4.7. So kind of the lesson here is, if you look at it from the perspective now, Jonas's numbers by himself without Jokic and Cam are better than DJ's were. They're covered up by the logo here. You don't need to see it. Were better than DJ's without MPJ and Jokic. Like, that's not surprising, right? DJ wasn't terrible last year, but Jonas's are better. And so part of the conversation was about, hey, doing this trade, it's not just for Cam Johnson. You sent MPJ and the pick for the Nets to take on MPJ's contract, give you Cam and the flexibility for you to do the trade that sent Dario Saric out and got you Jonas Valanciunas. And that net does seem to be coming out ahead.
Yeah, I want to be fair to MPJ too. DeAndre Jordan just isn't Jonas at all, like offensively at all. Like, and Jonas, for a lot of it, he's been a better rim protector than I think people realize. Like, it's not like spectacular, but he's long. He's a lot longer than you realize. And in some ways he's longer than Jokic, and like is better at it than Jokic at times. So I just think having Jonas would have helped Porter a lot this year. I will say, Matt, though, when I just kind of filter out on PBP, the defensive stat, the Nuggets defense is like 7.2 points better defensively with Cam on the floor this year. So, or rather, Cam off the floor this year. So, What I'm saying, do you think that is like, to me, that's more a product of when Aaron Gordon and Christian went out, I think the system kind of fell apart. And I think Cam is not necessarily the kind of, like Drew Holiday, for instance. You put prime Drew Holiday in a situation, that defense gets better because he's the engine. He's like a real defensive engine. Cam, for me, is like he is a system defender that amplifies what you're doing at a really high level. But I don't think in terms of, and some of this could be like, Jokic and it's not playing a lot of defense right now. The Nuggets aren't playing a lot of defense right now at all. So maybe they're kind of bringing down his value. But I just think that like as the season goes on, I just think it's just going to be kind of made clear over the course of time, like why Cam, his value was so high. But also, too, when they started off 10-2, Matt, and they were number 2 defense in the NBA, some of that was three-point luck, but also they just looked better defensively. Now, the Nuggets did have stretches where they had really good defense with Michael Porter Jr., but it just didn't happen a lot. And by the way, right now, Matt, Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson, per PBP, they have a 122 defensive rating together on the floor right now. Like, to me, that's like so fake. Because they're both, Peyton's a really good defender. He's having a good defensive season, but it's also like they haven't played defense since the Houston game, almost 3 Fridays ago. So it's just like, how much do I actually blame them for that?
Yeah, so Cam and AG are at a 113 defensive rating. That's good. Like, that is more than good enough. Cam by himself without Aaron Gordon or Spencer Jones is at 122.
Right.
So, like, part of this, in my opinion, is that if you put Cam in with guys with the other starters that know how they defend with each other, it works. When you start mixing in guys that aren't as comfortable defending with the other guys, that's where it starts to get really wonky, because like Cam and Spencer are two of the three best defenders on this team, and they have a 122 defensive rating that goes along with the Peyton thing. Like I guess here's the thing. That's been bad, right? But the difference here is that will get better as they play more, because so much of this is about throwing Spencer Jones into a starting role.
Yeah. Throwing
Peyton Watson into a starting role, throwing both of them in a starting role together, combined with the limitations that the roster inherently has. So I think that all that said, we might get to the end of the year and just be like, yeah, they might have been better with MPJ. Like, that's possible. I'm open to that. Like, I am not 100% positive. I would say that right now, so far, I would give the Cam Johnson trade right now like a C-. It hasn't been horrible because they're winning games and they're winning with him on the floor, but it hasn't been good enough because they also, the one I will kind of point to, that fourth quarter versus the Mavericks, that's where MPJ hits like 3 threes in that fourth quarter and they win that game. Like, MPJ just scores enough. Like, he would be like, okay, cool. Jamal's gone. All right, no problem. I'll shoot. And Cam did not or cannot do that. And that's a problem, because there will be times, I think, when Cam's going to need to do that throughout the season. I want to talk about Spencer Jones, who is probably my favorite Nugget right now, but I've been doing a deep dive and I have some interesting kind of like nuanced things I want to get to. We'll talk about that coming up with Swipe Out here on Locked On Nuggets. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. So I went and I am halfway through watching every single defensive possession by Spencer Jones this season. Watching every single time that he has been directly involved in the action is like my goal here. And a lot of this is why I always say, if you actually wanted to have a real judgment of DPOY, you need like a 12-man committee that all their job is to pay attention to this and just do this research. Because I've watched all these clips, like spent hours just like that like making notes, next one, making notes, etc. And yet this doesn't even account for all the possessions where he does awesome stuff that he's not involved in. Like, they passed somebody the ball, he was able to disrupt it, they had to kick it out, and then there's another action, because it's impossible to be able to track all that. Or it's not impossible, but I don't have access to that kind of data. I do have some observations, though, because I do think the defensive numbers with Spence in the starting unit, like we kind of alluded to, are really terrible. And that's surprising, because when you watch Spence, you're just like, man, this guy's a dog. Like, he's so physical. He's so much into these guys. The Pacers game, he picked up a bunch of fouls on something that all young guys have to learn, which is and I need to talk to somebody that's actually like really good with college basketball about this. I think in college, you can turn sideways on drives as long as you're not extending the elbow or pushing into them, and be able to get away with it. In the NBA, if you don't stay completely parallel on drives, if you are not 100% parallel to them, Like your body has to be perpendicular. If you were turned at all at an angle on their shoulder, once they lift that off arm, you're going to get a foul every single time. And Nembhard got him twice on it, and Mathurin got him once. And he picks up a lot of those. His closeouts, honestly, are probably the best on the Denver Nuggets. Cam closes with both speed, aggressiveness, but also, Spencer probably closes out with the best speed, aggressiveness, and position. He's able to get back and contest where he's not in position for like flybys. He contests without having to flyby, which is actually really nice because it seems like the Nuggets have two options. They are stopping short 5 feet away from the guy catching the ball, or they are flying by and it's a free play for that guy if he's got any dribble game. So Spencer's really good at that. And like a lot of these buckets are just, I really am watching. I'm like, that's a good contest, splash. That's a good contest, splash. And those are things where it's like, look, man, this is the NBA, and that's just kind of how it goes. Some of this stuff, though, I do think he will get better at as it goes along. And that's going to make, I think, a meaningful difference, especially as he learns more about what Joker needs defensively, what Jamal needs defensively, and what the other guys' tendencies are. So much of defense is about chemistry. And I just think that there's like a big learning curve that Spencer Jones and honestly Cameron Johnson, too, are up against here with the starting unit right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part is that when they were fully functioning, you know, the Nuggets with Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, and Zeke Naji, they have enough wings to defend. Like, they have plenty of wings that can defend, get in space, you know, be active, get to the ball, close out. There were possessions yesterday in the first half if you watched the Pacers game. By the way, in the first half of the Pacers game, the Nuggets had a 94 defensive rating, but the starters, like Spencer Jones, had an 83 defensive rating. Peyton Watson had a 73. Cam Johnson had an 86. Jokic had an 81. They went on a 32-9 run, Matt, and they played defense. They were everywhere, and the X-outs were perfect. The rotations were great. Jamal was being disruptive off the ball. But that's the problem. They leave that effort in the locker room sometimes for whatever reason for the past 2 weeks. If you heard David Adelman talk yesterday, one of the things he mentioned immediately was, like, we did the things. For 2.5 quarters, we did everything we were supposed to do, but then we just didn't sustain it. And I just think they just get lazy. And I don't know what a better word to use other than lazy to describe the Nuggets defense, that they will gauge, they'll play hard, they'll put their foot on the pedal. But it's almost like once they feel like they're up enough, they just take a really deep sigh and they just relax everything and say, we can just outscore you the rest of the way. They did it versus the Mavericks. They did it versus the Kings. They did it versus the Spurs. They did it versus the Pacers. So even versus the Bulls, I mean, they got up versus the Bulls, and they were just kind of like, man, these dudes ain't finna do nothing. And then you get cooked. So I just think that's more of a mentality thing for me than anything else. I think Spencer's doing a great job. I actually like the fouls, Matt. I think when Adelman addressed the team after in the post game, and he said, like, you know, we only had like 11, like, I think personal fouls in the game versus the Mavericks. That means you're playing too soft at the level, and you're too soft at the point of attack. Yeah, and I think Spencer Jones is perfect. Spencer, go get the fouls. I really don't care if you get 3 fouls in the first half. Now, getting to the free throw line for the other team, that's not something you love. But I think Spencer has to be physical. That needs to be part of your MO. That when you play defense and you got Spencer Jones on you, it's going to be a battle, and you're going to get touched. And I think one of the great things that he did, you know, remember the Phoenix Suns game where Grayson Allen tried to take him off the dribble, and he deflected the ball, and then he got a block on it. Spencer is active. He's engaged. He's big. I think Spencer is going to have more positive impact on this team when they start playing versus these really good teams and playing really high-level defense. Remember, Spencer Jones, Houston game, was guarding Alperen Sengun, was guarding Amen Thompson. They put Spencer Jones on Reed Shepherd in the second half. I think he's going to have like a lot of those opportunities and be able to show out. But the better the team holistically will be defensively, I think that's when his viability and his importance to the team is going to continue to show its face.
Yeah, it is really striking how good Spencer is defensively in the bench minutes. And so the question here to me is like, okay, is this about his combination with Jokic and figuring out how to defend versus Nikola? Or is it just more about this, which is like he's ready to defend bench units and he's not quite ready for starters? And I think it's probably like I mean, it's always a mix, but I do think it's like, I don't think that Spencer Jones is, I think Spencer Jones is a great, hey, it's the third quarter. Let's throw Spencer on this guy and wear him down for 5 minutes. Right. But right now it's like, hey, Spence, we're going to need you to go ahead and lock down their number one option. Can you do that for us? And that's asking like a lot of a guy that's at his point in his career. Like this guy was in Grand Rapids last year. I do want to ask you before we head out of this segment, what is your urgency level on them converting him to a full-time so that he's available for the playoffs?
Well, he has how many more games does he have before he has to be converted? Isn't it like 50 games you get?
Yeah, you got time for sure. You got time.
I don't think there's no incentive to do it because then there's a roster spot available. So I think they hold out as long as they can. He will be converted at this rate, though. He's starting games in the NBA, and he's winning games in the NBA, and he's scoring 28 points in the NBA. I think he will be converted, but I just don't think you do it until you absolutely need to, because just for the sake of having the injury spot open.
Okay. Coming up. All right. Jonathan Encampo is looking at his options. They'd have to convince him. Should Denver even involve itself in this type of conversation with as good as they are? We'll talk about it on Locked On Nuggets. The World Cup's coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. And that's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. So many great locations. There are going to be, I think there's games in Vancouver. There's going to be games in Dallas. There's going to be games all over the place. And there's just nothing like those games. Like I can't imagine how amazing it would be to be at those games. And I'm going to try and find my way to one. You pull up the app. The layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Prices include fees up front, which I love. There's no last second surprises at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets. Every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Thursday. Tomorrow, you've got Boom and Gloom with Swipa and Ryan Blackburn in the afternoon, and then we'll do the post-game show after the Atlanta Hawks game as well. That should be a really good game. Hawks are going to be mad about getting blown out by the Clippers. Nuggets on an East Coast road trip.
That we can both admit that should be Giannis's like go-to. Right, with the Bucks at least.
I'm not there.
Okay.
Like I think if you put him on the Atlanta Hawks, I think they're awesome, but I just don't think that they're a title contender. I just don't. I think
Jalen Johnson and Nikhil Alexander-Walker and Dyson brother. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. Is that better? Is that better than like? Think of it that way. Okay, like you got NAW on Minnesota, right? So it's like Jalen Johnson is Ant. If you add Giannis to the Wolves, do you feel like that's like lights out? Because I'm just like, yeah, that's a really great team. I don't feel like that's lights out.
I mean, Nikhil's on a. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I also don't know what you're trading for him, right? Like what?
Trae Young, Zachary Ricochet, and 4 first-round picks, including the Pelicans pick. That matches.
I wouldn't take.
Perfectly.
I genuinely would not take Trae.
Well, you have to. You're taking Trae Young. That's the money that works, and it's an expiring.
I mean, the biggest thing here is just like You're gonna have to show me an NBA player that's like, yes, I absolutely want to go to Atlanta. Nobody's ever done it. I don't know why. I think Atlanta's a great city, but no NBA player ever wants to go there.
Well, they don't have any legacy in the franchise and all that.
Which
stuff.
It's crazy to me because I'm like Dominic Wilkins. Like this has been like, and they've had like lots of periods of being good teams, and for whatever reason, the NBA like every player is like, no, I'm good.
The worst 60-win team of all time also played here. Like I think that's the narrative.
That team was so good.
Yeah, and they got walked.
Well, they were so hurt though. Like Dellavedova took out Kyle Korver in that series, and that was a massive deal. They were just gassed. They were gassed out too. But like it was LeBron, right? Like, okay, if LeBron goes to the Western Conference that year instead of when he did, like the year the Raptors won, like you telling me that the Hawks could have won the Eastern Conference if LeBron had gone West? Come on, they could have won. They could have won the Eastern Conference. Okay. So here's the thing. The only way that the Nuggets are going to be able to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo is if they include Aaron Gordon. There's no other structure that's going to work. Can't get it done. There's no combo that like the Bucks are going to even be like willing to just like you can't send Cam. I guess if you really want to, you can look at Jamal. If you really want to, you can look at Jamal. This is the problem. It's just like I think that Denver's going to be like, there's no way we're good enough. We are not going to upset this for anything. We're good enough. What are your thoughts?
If Giannis made it apparent he wants to go to Denver,
yeah,
they're trading whoever for Giannis.
Okay,
it's over.
So I don't disagree. My thing here is more of, in order for Denver to make this happen, they have to pursue it. Like they have to go to Giannis's agent and be like, "Hey, we want to make the pitch. Like, here's what we want to do.
Can you do the machine real quick? If they did Murray, which I'm not saying they do this because I know Jamal's probably watching this. This had nothing to do with me. We're just scenario. If they did Murray, that's 52. How much more would they need for Giannis? Zeke? And then every swap they have until 2038?
Jamal.
And then do you want Peyton Watson?
Zeke Najee, good God. I honestly am against this because Bucks fans deserve better than to have Zeke if they're losing Giannis.
It would be a 3-team trade for sure.
It's very mean to do this to them, even with getting Jamal. Yeah, Jamal and Zeke works money-wise.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even think that would be a question. Like, you would have Jokic and Giannis. You want to talk about Jokic's defense. He wouldn't have to play defense ever again for the most part. Like,
you move. And look, I do like the idea of moving Aaron Gordon to the 3.
With Giannis.
Aaron, Giannis,
Jokic.
And Joke. It extends Aaron's career by like 5 years because he doesn't have to bang with the power forward.
And then they can find a point guard like, Peyton Watson. You can if they want, they can flip Peyton for. I mean, legitimately, actually, you know what they do? They can flip Cam Johnson for Nimhard, like, or something like that. Like, they're both making 21-19. Like,
folks talking about who he's going to go to. Yeah, he's already expressed interest in the Knicks. He is probably going to the Knicks. That's probably what's happening. Like, we all know that. But this is okay.
What's going to be your Luka moment? What will be your disbelief moment? The Thunder?
No, because I mean, it would surprise me just because I don't think Sam would look at it. I think Sam would be like, I did not perfectly build for 15 years, for 10 years to win a championship and have the team that is on pace for the best record and maybe best season of all time and then risk it.
They would not even have to give up J-Dub or Chet though in that deal.
I know. But he's, the shocker would be Miami because that's where I'm just like, really? Like, I think Miami's really good this year.
Giannis and Tyler Hero's there, or
and that's the thing is like like the Bucks don't get Bam. Like, you're gonna trade Giannis and you don't even get Bam back. Like, come on, man, dang. There's not a surprise to me because, like, look, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent works money wise. If the Knicks screw around here, and like, do not underestimate the ability for the Knicks to screw around with this.
James Dolan,
like,
he's not in charge anymore. That's it's Worldwide West involved though. And
I can see. Well, here's the thing: is I could see above Worldwide West is Dolan, and even then though the Knicks, even with this current crew with Leon and West, like, they have at times been a little bit like, yeah, we're good. We feel good about where we're at.
They got Dante.
They got a little bit of Miami in them in that they're like, we're not going to get hardballed here. We're not going to chase. And it's like, you should, right? And if they just frustrate the Milwaukee to the point that they do to Giannis and are just like, hey, how about the Lakers?
What about Paulo?
Banchero?
Giannis to the Magic.
He'll never go to the Magic.
Because too small.
Mm-hmm.
So something that somebody noted on a PC today was that, like, shout out to Damien in Australia. If you look at the direct flights to America, and especially from Greece, New York, Atlanta, LA, those would be like the direct flights.
Mm-hmm.
So I think New York should do it, but Bro, they had OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and Giannis and Brunson.
Yep.
That's a nightmare. I mean, that would be
that's the best thing. I mean, that's the only squad. So I did this from a power rating perspective because of the stuff I do over on the gambling side. My theory was you have to get within 2 points of OKC if you're going to do this. And what I said was, let's have Giannis be worth 6 points to the spread, and you're trading. So don't even think about the spread here. You're trading 6 points of game value. Okay, Giannis is worth 6 points offense, defense, net. Okay, that's high. Jokic is worth about 6.5. Okay. But let's say it's 6, and you're going to trade. Let's say that they don't get completely hosed, so they get 50 cents on the dollar. So they trade 3 points. So if you get 3 points net better, what teams are in range? And the only teams I saw that were in with that currently are within, or based off of my preseason priors, actually, that are within range are Denver, Houston, Detroit, and the Knicks. That's it. Those are the only teams.
Detroit with Tobias Harris and fought,
yeah, I mean that one to me, like that's my Atlanta, where it's like you can keep like Jalen Johnson's very good. Give him Cade. Like give him Cade and Duren. And I guess here's an interesting question. Like if you're Detroit and they say it's a SAR or no deal. Look, Asar's awesome.
No, him and his brother are both good. Yeah,
you're looking at me like I'm crazy, and the only reason I bring this up, Cam, is because cost control is the biggest thing in the NBA right now.
No, I hear you. I'm just trying to think. Like Duren is like a 20-12 player now.
Yeah,
having a crazy year.
Yeah,
Cade just got player of the month. He's so Giannis, and then you got Jaden Ivey, and who's playing the 3 at that point? If Asar's gone, could you start Rob Holland?
You're starting Holland.
Yeah, I mean. Hey, brother. What did the director at FBI say? See you in Valhalla.
Yep.
that'd be a great team. That'd be a great team. I think the Spurs should do it, bro.
Oh, I do too. I absolutely think they should be. I think it should be Stephen Castle, Harrison Barnes, and the picks. 100%.
That would be so easy.
100%.
They would be. I mean, that would be a nightmare, bro.
Yeah, Giannis and Wemby, good freaking God.
That'd be a nightmare. Giannis would get back to DPOY defense too.
And you want to play for like a top flight organization, like that's a top flight organization, right? And I think the Bucks have been really good. I think the Bucks have done it. Like I don't blame the Bucks for how this has gone. Like they had honestly, a lot of it is they only won one title because Miami is a freak of nature and pulled off a bunch of random nonsense. And then Chris got hurt. They win the title in 2023 if Chris doesn't get hurt.
You mean 2?
2, yeah. They win the title in 2022 if Chris doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, I think
and so. And then they traded for Dame. You do that 10 times out of 10. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. So I don't blame the Bucks, but
would you trade? So if the Nuggets got involved and Giannis said Denver DI, it's the second busiest airport in the U.S.
Right.
We have direct flights to Denver all the time, know, and he says, "All right, I want to come to Denver." Would you do it?
This is going to sound crazy. I would not. The reason is actually look at Dame. Okay. So Dame gave him oh my God, everybody's like, oh my God, what are you going to do with Giannis and Dame in the pick and roll? But Giannis doesn't pick and roll. Giannis is a perimeter player. And I don't know how you space effectively with it. Now, defensively, I love it because I am watching Jokic get killed in drop coverage versus guards with them scoring at the rim. And I'm just like, can someone please come block a shot? Can somebody block a shot?
Peyton Watson, yeah.
Right? Somebody come block a shot and rim protect, please. And having Giannis would clean all that up. I am somebody who thinks that fit in 5-on-5 basketball in 2026 is more important than individual. Oh my God, a mega level talent.
Their 2-man game would be insane though. Jokic would open up, but Jokic would open
I
the floor up.
Because
Jokic would just be like, whatever. I know. I need to be over here.
I know. Okay. I know. I just something about it with me. I'm just gonna it's a little clunky, and it's but it'd be awesome. And they figure it out because superstars figure it out. Sure, 100%. I wouldn't downgrade Denver. I'm just I don't know, man. I think you're good enough. I think
would you give them a better chance in the OKC series with Giannis?
Yes.
Without Jamal?
Yes. Not because of Jamal, just because like if you just throw size at them, even with Hart and Chet, they still struggle. That's the one thing where they still, if you are able to just be like, okay, you're all physical, but we're bigger than you, they still are kind of like uncomfortable with that. So yeah, I do think it gets them closer to OKC in that matchup. All right, it's gonna do it for Locked On Nuggets. Appreciate you guys being with us. Great show. Really enjoyed this conversation. Hope you guys join us tomorrow for Boom and Gloom Friday afternoon, and then after for the Hawks game. Make sure to leave us a like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review if you're listening on podcasts. I will talk to you guys either Friday night or Sunday night. I'll see you guys again next time for Swipa. This has been Locked On Nuggets. Man, Giannis and Yoke. What would that be like?